DorkLair.
Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the HyperReal Luke Skywalker Empire Strikes Back Bespin version from Hasbro. This is the second figure in the line. If you want to see my review of the Darth Vader figure, I'll put a link in the description below. You can go watch that after this video. That figure I think is fantastic. This one, not quite as much. I'm, kind of a little bit like bland about it. It doesn't have the best looking suit. That's probably my biggest gripe is the way the suit looks. It just doesn't really, it just looks very bland. It doesn't look like an $80 figure. It should have a lot more weathering, and perhaps that just wasn't possible with the, with this type of material. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a letdown. I wish it was cloth. A lot of people also wish it was cloth. I probably don't even really recommend the figure, but I actually don't mind it. Like, once I kind of settle in and I'm like, yep, this is what it is. It's got a lot to like about it, actually, and it looks pretty good next to Vader. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm kind of happy to have it. I think I paid $60 from Best Buy. They had like a coupon at some point. So for that, I'm happy, but I don't recommend it for $80. And I'll tell you why. Let's get into this review. Luke comes in the same trapezoidal shaped packaging with the window box. It's a very nice packaging. The figure over here, accessories, hands and whatnot there. Lots of looks at the figure. It's a nice box. I don't really know that I would save these boxes because they just don't store well because of the shape. They have that trapezoidal shape, but it's a nice presentation. It is a very nice packaging. All right, so taking a look at the sculpt, paint, and details on Luke. I think the head sculpt is pretty good. I actually really like the head sculpt. I like both of the head sculpts. I'll show you the other one when we get to the accessories. I do really like the shading and the hair. I think the hair looks fantastic. I don't like the fact that the face is very shiny. I don't like that at all. But the eyes are lifelike. The expression is great. The sculpt looks good and the paint looks nice. It's just very shiny. The whole thing is just way too shiny for my taste. The suit itself just doesn't have enough paint. It's just too bland and just too beige. It should be dirty. It should have like shading and, a black wash throughout. You can see there's a little bit of shading, but not enough. If you look really closely, you'll see some nice sculpted details that are molded well. Seams and pockets and stuff, all of which would be very prominent with a wash, which I may try to do myself. I'll probably test it out on the back of the leg somewhere and see if I can get it to stick, and hopefully it won't ruin the plastic because, if you're just going to get this plastic wet, I worry a little bit that it might do something weird to the rubber. The hands are kind of amazing. The hands are really nicely detailed. They look very lifelike to me. Those are really nice. And then the belt is awesome. It's very like leathery. It's got a little shine. Like that's where you want the shine, is on the leather. So yeah, the holster and the belt and all these little pouches and things, little silver buttons, a lot of great detail in those, and also in the blaster. As you come down the leg, same material. The whole thing is just that rubber. Let me see if I can squish it for you. You can kind of see. There you go, rubber. The boots look pretty good. These are also rubber. They're a different thing though, I think, because you can kind of see there. I don't think it's not like silicone. Like this is like a super soft silicone, and this is more like a rubber boot. Like you would almost kind of reminds me of the old 12-inch figures or something. But yeah, so you can see the boots there. And the boots have a little more shading and weathering. I think they look a little better than the rest of the suit. But yeah, that's the biggest letdown for me, is that the suit just does not look good. It does not look like a super premium type of a figure, which this line is supposed to be. For accessories, Luke comes with a second head sculpt that I think also looks really good. This is more of like, I'm afraid of you, Vader kind of look. When you realize he's really in it. There's one thing about this movie is, especially for people who've never seen it, like I show it to my students and stuff, and You know, they might know that Vader is his father already, but they don't really know how severely Luke falls and how badly he gets his butt kicked in that scene. But yeah, I like this other head sculpt as well. And then he comes with the blaster. Looks pretty great in my opinion. It's got the silver tip there, and then it's also got you know, like the handle is painted brown, and then there's some like gray silver dry brushing to give it a metallic look to it. So blaster looks really nice, and it also fits in his hand really well too. I do really like the hands. They actually feel nice. They kind of move around well. They look very lifelike. They hold the weapons really well. So blaster, big plus for me. One thing that does make the figure feel very premium is the number of hands that he comes with. So he's got a pair of fists. He's got a pair of this shape relaxed hands. He's got these two action hands, two different action poses, force using type things. And he's got kind of an odd number. He has more right hands than left hands. He's got this right hand reaching out, action, another action pose, just a different position. And he's got the trigger finger blaster gripping hand. And he's got two more different relaxed hands here, just a different position. And then finally he has regular gripping hands. So quite a few hands. Total, he's got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 total hands. They're not all sets because he's got more right hands than left hands. Then you have his lightsaber, which looks great. I think the sculpt work and the paint is nice. I can't speak to its accuracy. I'm not like a lightsaber expert, but I think it looks really good. The only thing is, it seems slightly large. I don't know what do you think? It seems slightly large to me, so if I put it in his hand, it just feels like it's like kind of biggish, the overall size of it. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Hard to tell. Just feels a little thick, a little large. I also had to heat it up. This, and I'm not going to pull it out right now because I've got to heat it up again and get it out. But this was super tight, and I worry about breaking that peg. And then finally, he comes with a stand, and it's got a peg, and it's got a few different places for peg holes on it. So you can move the peg holes around and like put them in a different spot if you want. And he's got holes on the bottom of his feet where you can peg them right onto there. And he stands very nicely on the stand. So looks pretty good. And then the stand also has a little piece underneath that you can pull off and put on the side right here, and then grab Vader's stand and put Vader's stand connected to it. And then you can have Luke and Vader sort of connected on the same stand, which is pretty cool. And speaking of Vader, here's how Luke stands up next to him. So, you know, I feel like the size is about right. He's like a head taller than Luke. Finally, one of the highlights of this figure for me is the articulation. The neck's a little bit different than Vader's, where this is a plastic neck. But I do think that there is I haven't popped the bottom part of the neck off. I have popped the head off, but I haven't popped the bottom part of the neck off. I think, like Vader, it's weird. Like, if you just push it down, it's going to sort of pop back up. But if you kind of, like, inch it forward over here, you get a little more downward looking, and then sort of rock it back, because you know there's like a metal bar in there that's moving back and forth, not just the neck sort of plastic moving, but there's a metal piece in there. So you got to play around with that. Otherwise, it almost feels like the head's just snapping back. But if you get it forward, it will go forward a bit more. But I do kind of wish he would look down a little bit more, because you can put him down pretty far. He just won't stay all the way down. So yeah, probably about there is pretty much where he'll go. He'll look up pretty well. You will get a little gap right there, which that's not great, but where you can see the bottom of the neck. But generally speaking, you know, pretty decent articulation in the head. Shoulders are kind of incredible. This like metal skeleton, you can bring those shoulders, butterfly them back like that much. You can see the arch in the back that way, and then butterfly them forward quite a bit as well. So there's a ton of movement in those shoulders right there, which is impressive. Overall, the articulation is impressive in this thing. You can move his arm all the way up that high, and then back down. And of course, you can swing his arm up. I would be gentle with it because, you know, rubber could rip. His elbow comes up this high. So tons of great range there. It does rotate as well, and it's almost like a ratcheting thing where it'll ratchet at the elbow. And then the wrists have a ton of articulation as well, almost unnaturally so, where you can sort of do this with his wrist and back. So, and of course it'll twist. Up in the torso, he can crunch forward a little bit, and then at the waist a lot. So 2 points, upper torso and then at the waist. And he can twist as well. And you'll see that the jacket is a separate piece, so it creates a ton of free range of motion there. The leg can kick forward quite a bit. Again, I don't want to rip the plastic. It does sort of start going out as you kick it forward because it bunches up the rubber there. And, you know, it's just sort of like bouncing out. So there's that. So he can basically hold a position that far forward, which is not bad. And he can kick back. His joints are a lot more smooth than Vader's. Vader was like, I had to muscle him into positions. The knees bend up. They go further, but they won't stay. So effectively 90 degrees, even though they have the ability to go further. I also think maybe the knee bends at a lowish spot. Like, I don't know, is that natural? It feels like when you have like a double jointed knee and like you're articulating just the lower joint and not the upper joint. That's what that feels like to me. Like it feels a little low. The boots twist, but that's because it's at the ankle and it's a free floating piece. And then he can point his feet down a little bit, point his feet up, and then ankle rockers as well. So really impressive amount of articulation in this one, and he moves a lot more easily than Vader, so definitely a plus there with this figure. So lots of great poses. Really, I actually like the figure for what it is. I was hoping it was going to be cloth when they first announced the line, but for what it is, a rubber figure, it's not bad. I do hope I can get a little bit of paint wash to stick on there and maybe not ruin the material. And hopefully I can dirty him up and have him looking pretty good. I'll update with some posts in the little community tab if I end up doing that. But yeah, so I like the figure. I just don't recommend it. It's kind of a weird scenario to be in here with a review. But, you know, an $80 figure shouldn't look like ice cream. So anyway, thanks for watching my review. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
Follow me into the door.